Welcome to the 5 for 2 podcast with me, your host Adele, where we say no to careers where you're trading 5 days of misery for 2 days of fun. A place we discuss all things career, confidence, and money moves. I want to motivate, teach, and empower ambitious women to achieve more, earn more, feel more confident, and enjoy the work they do. It's all about believing you can have everything you want in your career and then going and getting it. So if you're ready, let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. Hope everyone's doing well. So, little backstory about this episode. It's a little bit of a funny story. I thought I recorded this episode months ago. When I say months ago, I'm talking like beginning of the year or last year. I thought I recorded this ages ago. And what happened was one of my clients was talking to me about how do you negotiate after an offer. So she's already got the offer. And she was like, oh, when they spoke about salary, I didn't even think to talk about it then. So she was like, how do I renegotiate? Because I want the offer, but I don't want the money they're offering. So I always give people advice. I always talk my clients through exactly what to do. And that's very specific and tailored to them. But I also always say to them, go ahead and listen to a podcast episode that relates to what we just did in our last session, because that will help reinforce everything that we've done. So what you've done, like the two things coupled together, my session and the podcast episode, always help my clients do wonders. Why, when I told her to go and look for the episode, did I then realize there is no episode? There is posts, there's things I've written about it, but there's no episode. So with me, when I get my episodes, I write the titles, I put them in my phone, and then I record them as and when. I just never recorded this episode. So anyway, here we are, a long time after I first ever spoke about renegotiating on my Instagram, on my LinkedIn, but just never actually recorded an episode. So here's the episode. Let's get into it. How do you renegotiate an offer that you've already had? Now, the first thing I want to say is if you're going through the interview process and they bring up salary, you need to speak about it at that point. That is the point when you come across the most confident. Renegotiating can sometimes make you feel like you had lack of confidence or you didn't believe in yourself enough during the interview process. And they will sometimes use that against you if you try to renegotiate. Sometimes there really wasn't an opportunity. You forgot to discuss salary. They didn't ask about salary. When that happens, it's so much easier to renegotiate. Other times you did speak about salary, but they make the offer and it's lower than what you wanted. Or you did that thing that I tell you not to do and you gave a range and you said, I'd be happy with between 60 and 65. So they gave you 60 when actually you wanted 65. So you should have said I would be happy with between 65 and 70. Or just not cut out the whole range thing and tell them exactly what you want. I want 65k. Done, dusted. However, sometimes the range can work when you're saying higher because you might only want 65, but you might say I'm looking for 65 to 70 and they give you 66 or 67. Now you're happy because you only wanted 65. But the whole range thing, when you give lower than you want, or you give the low number thinking to yourself, oh, I could still live on that, I could still accept that. That's not what we're doing. We're not saying, oh, I could still live on that, because still being able to live on that means what? It pays your bills and might help you out of some emergencies. No. We want to thrive on that. So I want you to get that in your head as well. When you're talking about salary, I don't want to live on it. I want to be able to thrive on it. Otherwise, why am I going to work every day? Anyway, I hope that's helped shift someone's mindset. We don't just want to live on our salary. We want to thrive on our salary. I know I've said it 3 times, but I want it to sink in. We want to thrive on our salary. Even I think that's a bar. Literally, it's a bar. Anyway, let's get back to renegotiating. So, you have gone through the process. You've attempted all your interviews. Like I said to you, you should have spoke about salary already, but for whatever reason, you have not. And now they've offered you 60k. You wanted 65. How do you renegotiate the salary? Because you know you like the offer. And this has happened to one of my clients recently. She really wants the offer. She loves the company, loves what they're offering, hates the salary. Now, a lot of people will just be like, suck it up, take the salary. Hopefully in a few years, you'll get to where you want to get to. Why would you shortchange yourself in this economy? And why would you start behind if you don't need to? Renegotiating isn't easy, but it's doable. And even if it only works 50% of the time, why can't you be that 50%? Let's be real. I always encourage my clients, we're the exception, not the rule. Let's go. So If you have already spoken about salary, you need to think about the pitch that you're now going to say, because you've already said to them, I'll be happy with 60K, or I'll be happy with 65. And now you're saying to yourself, I don't know why I said those numbers. I just randomly said it. I had a client once, he was like, he told them he'd be happy with 35. The salary band went up to like 55 and he knows he wanted 50. He was like, I just said anything because it was an industry change. And he thought, like, I'm just happy that they're even considering me for this role because I'm going into new. Like, are you crazy? Why would you say this small number? Now, do you know how hard it is to renegotiate? But not impossible. I've told you guys about my client before who wanted 106, ended up telling them the lowest she would take was 85 or something, and they gave her the 85. She then had to go back in and renegotiate, and she ended up with like 92 or 97. I don't even remember. You know it because it's in one of my older episodes, and at the time it was fresh in my memory. However, either way, do you see the renegotiating works, but she still didn't end up where she wanted to. They had budget for the money she wanted. She just didn't ask. The budget went up to 115K. She just told them she wanted that, but then said, when they said, what's your lowest? Would you accept? She said 86. Why would you say such a low number? If someone says to me, what do I want? I say 100K. They're like, what's the lowest you'd accept? 100K, babe. I've told you guys this before. But anyway, I went off on a little tangent. Your pitch for renegotiating, it should include value and results that you're committed to deliver in the future for that role. For instance, I'm really appreciate the offer. I'm really looking forward to joining the company and joining the team. I know I'm going to be able to bring XYZ. XYZ, or the X, you just need to do the X, is the thing that you know they care about most, which you should have learned from the interview process because you should have been using it in your answers, right? So what do they want most? You're looking forward to doing that. But now that you fully understand the scope of the role, the people you'll be managing, the teams you'll be leading, and what you know you can deliver, again, tell them what that is. You were looking for 105K, 65K, 70K, 60K, whatever the number is. Do they think you'll be able to have a conversation about it? Now, one thing I will say is you should, in theory, say a number, not in theory, you should just say a number a bit more than you want, because they're probably going to come back and negotiate. Because if you're renegotiating after the offer's been made, so they've already said to you, we're offering you 60. You want 65. Now you're probably going to need to ask for 67, 66. Do you see? You're probably going to need to ask for 68, like the higher number, because they'll come back and say, listen, we can't meet you at 68, but we might be able to do, they say 63 or 64. Then you might want to go back and say, okay, because you can't meet me at the salary I want, like I said, I'm really interested in this role. Could we consider an extra 5 days paid annual leave? Ooh, pay rise right there. See, a backhanded pay rise. People don't think of it as a backhanded pay rise, but I definitely do, because I've now got 5 extra days to not have to come to work, but still get paid for them. So I'm not making any more money. I'm still making, like, if they offer me 63, I'm still making 63K, but I'm making 63K with, instead of having 30 days off or 35 days off, I've now got 40 days off, 40 days off paid. So same salary, less days in the office, less days working, same pay. Invisible pay rise, as far as I'm concerned. You might not agree, but that's what I'm telling you. Invisible pay rise. I'm doing the same. I'm getting the same money for less work. Why is it less work? Because I've got more days off. If you go from having 30 days off to having 40 days off, I'm now working 10 days less a year for the same money. I've got more time freedom. Guess what I can do with those 10 days? That's what you need to think about. So, have you got your pitch ready? Do you know why you're renegotiating? Because you can't just say, oh, even though I know I said I wanted 60K, actually I need to be on 65. What? What's the reason? Now you got to give a good reason. Like, why? You can't just say to them, I want 65K. They'll be like, okay, we can't meet you there. So, done. Give them a reason why you want them to meet you there. What's the value add that you're bringing? What's the results that you're committed to delivering? I know that when I join the team, I'm going to be able to do X, Y, Z. Some of you are scared to say it because some of you are like, but what if I commit to it when I can't do it? Do you know how many of your companies are committing to stuff that they then don't do for you? Telling you about these amazing environments that they then don't provide. Telling you about these amazing pay reviews that then don't materialize. Telling you about career progression that then never happens. Everyone's out for themselves. Everyone's telling little white lies. I'm not telling you to lie. Know what you're good at and believe that you'll deliver it. My thing is, if I say to a company, I'm committed to delivering X, Y, Z, I'm committed to deliver it. I'm going to deliver it. And if I can't deliver it, it's because of outside circumstances. I get in the job and they change budgets. They change the direction. Whatever it is, I couldn't deliver it because of you lot, not because of myself. Or it took me a little bit longer to deliver. Whatever happens, I'm delivering it. Even if it takes me a bit longer, I'm focused on delivering it because I told you I was going to deliver it. I'm a woman of my word. I stick to my word. Some of you know that you stick to your word, but you're scared to commit to sticking to your word. You're scared to back yourself, and that's all that is. That fear is normal. You are scared to back. Do you think I'm not scared when I say to people, listen, if you work with me, I can help you change career and get a 40K pay raise? You know that what if a client comes to me and they don't get 40K? I've had clients that get 20K, 10K, 15K. I've had clients that only got 5K pay rises. I've got clients that didn't end up changing industry, but ended up getting like a 22K pay rise where they was already. I'm not scared to commit to say I can help someone get 40K pay rise. I can help someone get a 50K pay rise. I can help someone shift industry with no experience and no qualifications. I can do that. I've proved it time and time again. But if I only do it 9 out of 10 times, does that mean that I can't do it? No, it means that that 10th person, there's something that went wrong. And it's usually they didn't listen to me. They decided that what I was saying wouldn't work. And then they came back and said, Adele, I should have listened to you. Yes, you should have. Because it's tried and tested. I know what I'm talking about. I tailor everything individually. So I know what I'm talking about. Maybe they didn't build the confidence enough. Or I said to them, listen, you need a bit more coaching. And they were like, listen, I don't want to do more than 8 weeks. Cool. But I'm telling you, I don't think you should sign up with me unless you can do 14. Anyone who's had a call with me knows how I am. I will tell you what you need, not what you want me to say. So if I'm saying to you, listen, we can get this done in one session. I've had people come to me and say, I wanted to book your 8-week program. And I'm like, based on what we've just spoken about, we can get this done in 90-minute session and I'll rewrite your CV. Done. I will lose money because I have integrity. I will also the other way round. If I think you come to me and you want a 90-minute session, but I know I'm not going to be able to help you get all the things you want just through one session, I'm going to tell you, off the bat, this is what you need. If you don't use what you need, you may not get the results that you want. I'm true to this. I'm not new to this. So you guys need to back yourself. Do you believe in the results that you deliver? Again, let's go back to keeping lists. Are you keeping track of all your wins? Are you reminding yourself, I do this. This is something I do. I'm not new to this. If you believe in the results you deliver, you commit to them. You tell the company what you're bringing to the table and then you renegotiate the money that you want. End of. That's it. End of discussion. If you feel like you try to renegotiate, that isn't working, they're like, you know what, in a year we'll be able to give you more, blah, 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 blah. They give you the normal spiel. Then you can think about, and this is like, if this works for you, remember, this has to work for you. Because sometimes there's going to be times when nothing works and you might want to walk away and go look for something else. That's totally up to you. But another option, ask for the salary review to be built into your offer or contract. So say to them, listen, I know you said you might not be able to do it now. Or they say to you, for instance, we can't meet you at 65, but we can offer you 63. And you're like, you know what, I don't care about that 2K because that 2K is going to go to the tax man anyway. Like, please, I'm barely going to notice it, but I still kind of do want it. But let me take the 63. Awesome. But at the beginning, before you've even signed the offer, say to them, okay, but can we build a salary review into my contract? So in 3 months or in 6 months, if I'm doing really well, we can discuss potentially getting the extra 2K. They're not building in that you will get the 2K. They're building in a salary review. Can I get a salary review in 12 weeks? Off the back of that, before you get that built in, you need to find out what are the initial KPIs? What are the targets? What do they need to see from you to get that extra 2K? That's what you're building into the contract. You're asking them, can you add that into the offer? You want it in writing, never verbal. We don't do anything verbal over here because then it's he said, she said, you can't prove it. I want it in writing, please and thank you. I want you to build it into my offer/contract. Yeah? So that's number 2. Number 3, find out what the initial KPIs are, which I said it already in number 2, and the targets, and find out the time frames. Now, you might not have asked them to build any kind of salary review. So you've tried to renegotiate, it didn't work. You've said, you know what, I'll accept the job as is. So you've accepted it at the 60K. You find out what the initial KPIs and targets are in time frame. So you find out right before you start the job, what's your expectations for this person to achieve in the first 3 months? What do you want to see from me? Right, they've told you, you've written it down. They want you to do it in the first 6 months. I want you to do it in the first 3. I've told you this before. When you do it sooner, then you renegotiate. Because now at my 6-month review, I'm going to say to you, listen, I was able to deliver XYZ within 12 weeks. Since then, I've gone on to deliver XYZ. Going forward, I will continue to deliver that. Plus, I've got ideas of doing all of these other things. I would like to renegotiate. And now at this point, because you didn't give me what I want right at the beginning, now I want even more than I first said. I don't want 65 no more. I'm actually looking at 68 because now I've been doing the job, and I'm saying to you, I've been doing the job and I've realized how much I'm really able to deliver. I think I'm doing well, unless you feel otherwise. Every time we've had our catch up meetings, you've told me I'm doing great. I'm actually ahead of what you expected. So actually now I'm looking for about 68. I'm looking for 70. I'm a problem. HR hates to see me coming. Hiring managers hate to see me coming. All my clients who have worked with me, their boss hates to see them coming. Because we come in with receipts and we asking you for money. You would have been better off renegotiating at the beginning rather than let me get my foot in the door, let me overperform. So now you ain't really got a leg to stand on. Because now when you tell me no, now I'm really going to start looking for another job. Because I'm going to say to you, okay, why is it no? What do you need to see from me in the next 3 months for it to be a yes? Adele, we just don't have the money. Cool, you really can't afford me then. I'm now thinking you actually just can't afford me. It's not that you're not willing to negotiate. You just can't afford me. If you can't afford me, I can't afford to be in this building. I need to remove myself. Because again, we're not working to survive. We are working to thrive. Yeah? So we are working not so that we can live. Like, I just need to make enough so I can pay these bills. No. I need to make enough so I can thrive. So that's what we're doing. That's where we headed. So these are the ways that I feel like are the top ways. There are other ways to renegotiate, but these are the top ways to renegotiate salaries after an offer has already been made. Even after you've potentially accepted the offer. But make sure the things I've shared with you, you need to do them before you accept the offer. You need to understand them. The only one that you can do after offer is the last one. But again, you still would need to know what the KPIs or targets are and what the timeframes were that they wanted those to be achieved by you when you get in the role, so that you can then use that as leverage to renegotiate after you started doing the role. Sometimes renegotiating after you've already started is a little bit easier. It really depends on how you work, but it can be a little bit easier because, like I said, we've now got receipts. I've now proven to you everything I said in the interview. I now want more than I originally wanted. If someone can't afford you, sometimes you might walk away. If you're getting other things, sometimes you might stay. What might the other things be? Time freedom, ability to pick up your kids, drop your kids and pick up your kids from school. There's a lot of different reasons why people might take a role and it makes sense at that time. Don't get stuck though in jobs that are underpaying you. Don't get stuck and forget what your career goals were and what your priorities were in the first place. And continue to renegotiate once you've started your job. Because like I always say, you are better at your job in month 6, in month 12, in month 18, in month 24. We do not stay the same at our job. So why the hell is my salary staying the same? We do not stay the same in our job. So why is my title staying the same? And remember, title is something you can also negotiate. So again, say you want the 60K, 65K, they can't meet you where you're at. You tried to renegotiate. They said no, ask for a title. And some people are saying, like, why would I want a title? I'm going to use that 6 months from now when you lot can't give me the money I want. I'm going to use that title, that big boy title, to go somewhere else and get loads more money. Because you guys know if you've done certain titles command certain money. The starting salary for certain titles is way higher than others. Like, difference between a manager and an operations manager. Difference between an operations manager and operations director. Sometimes the title holds the weight because they're like, oh, she's been a director. She's going to want at least this. These times I was a director earning small money, but because I had the title on paper, when I came to you, you assumed I must have been on more. You assumed I was making 6 figures. Let's go. Let's use renegotiating to our advantage as always. Shout out to my client who made me realize that I didn't even do this episode when I thought I had. And I hope this helps someone. Share it with someone if you know that they need some help with this. Utilize it yourself. Listen back from the beginning. Like I said, we're not just getting paid to just get paid. We are trying to thrive. I will speak to you guys in the next episode. I hope this episode gave you exactly what you needed and motivated you to confidently take steps towards your next career move. If you enjoyed it, screenshot and share it on your socials, tag me on Instagram, and come join my community of amazing women working on leveling up their confidence and career. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.